Good morning. We're just heading up to the allotment now, and before we go I thought I would just show you this in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is down in the back garden at home. Last week, in fact, I don't know how many days ago it wasn't very many, was it? Maybe 5 days ago when I planted these seeds. I'm asking you.
Yes, yes, it was about 5 days.
About 5 days ago I planted these seeds to go into the next free border. They've sprouted already. I'm amazed at how quick they've germinated. So I'll just show you what's going on here in case you watched that other video. So there you go, that's the rocket coming up. Swedes and chard. More rocket. I've got some spinach and some cress, they've all come up. Even the French beans are starting to germinate. And that was the beetroot. Fennel, I think that packet of seed was probably past its best, but there is one little fennel. I haven't had a great germination rate from that whole packet, and that was the last of it. But anyway, I think that's amazingly fast, and by the time we take the peas out, which shouldn't be long now because we were picking peas yesterday, by the time we take the peas out I'll get that whole border sorted out, and by which time these might be ready to go in. Yay, next stage. See you up at the allotment. One of the allotment holders up here at our site isn't very well at the minute, and as a few of us have taken over a couple of these beds each just to keep his allotment a little bit tidier. It's not great. So I'll just show you what we've got growing in here, but you must excuse the weeds because I actually don't really take very good care of our beds. Come in. So this is one of the borders that we've got. I've just really got half of it because that's his rhubarb, and there's some hard-neck garlic at the back. I've just put squash in. I had planted a lot of squash plants, and I didn't really have anywhere to put them, so this has been ideal for me because they can just go in there and sprawl about and do their own thing. And actually the squash that I put in here is doing much better than it is everywhere else, so I'm pretty pleased. If you come a bit closer I'll show you. So there we go, that's my little squash growing. These are a variety called Uchikikuri. I grew them last year, and I got them originally from Aldi or Lidl, I think, in the autumn, and I saved the seed, and this is the second year and I'm still growing them. These two borders, this one and the one behind, are a bit of an embarrassment actually. They're so full of weeds. I have come and weeded it recently, but masses of weeds. Obviously probably because of that they're not doing so well. I've got squash in here as well, although I thought it was squash. This one looks like it's a courgette. I do get them mixed up all the time. I don't know whether everybody else does that. I'll give this a quick weed now, give these a better chance. And in the border behind I just pushed some peas in that I had spare. It's been quite a good overflow space for us. You know how you have these extra plants and you can't bring yourself to throw them away, and if you can't find anybody else to take them, this has been good for that. So that's this border. This one I think is even worse if anything. Peas are grown up, and there's some flowers on actually, so I might get a little bit. I'm not expecting anything much, to be honest. He's got a lot of this borage in his garden. I'll show you the flower and stuff up there. It seems quite invasive actually. And apparently, well, I'll show you the stuff up there and then we can have a little chat about that. So you can see here there's a whole mass of borage. I didn't actually know what borage really looked like until, well, a couple of days ago when I realised that's what this was. It's pretty, it's got nice little flowers on, and you can put the flowers in your salads, and they say you can put the leaves in, but honestly you wouldn't want to be eating that. It's prickly and tough, so I don't know. In fact, I'm going to give it a little try. I actually tastes quite nice. But I don't know, a bit rough for a salad, I would have said. You could cook that down maybe. I just thought it was quite interesting to see how prolific it is and how pretty it is, really. There's masses of bees in amongst it, so it's as good as a pollinator as well. I just thought I'd show you this. It's still in the same gentleman's garden allotment. This is some garlic that's just been left. I think this is hardneck garlic. Isn't that a lovely flower? You don't get to see that because we always pick them before they go to seed and flower like that. But I just thought that was so pretty. You could have it in your proper flower garden. Just giving the carrot seeds that I put in yesterday a little sprinkle of water to keep them nice and damp. That'll do. My main reason for coming up to the allotment today is to kind of try and sort out this salad border. This is a raised bed. We made it on the hugelkultur system, which we didn't even know existed before we did it. But since then I've read about it, and that's what we did by accident. Basically that means you can dig a trench, or in our case a raised bed, and put in all kinds of compostable material like branches and leaves and logs even, and lay them all in and then pile your soil on top. What that does is it rots down slowly, it releases heat so your border is warmer than it would be, which is good for growth of the plants. And it also releases the nutrients. Well, it seems to be doing quite well. It's pretty vibrant. Anyway, I just want to try and sort it out a bit, thin it down, harvest what needs harvesting. I've got a bag that I'm going to put stuff in for the hens, and a bag for some salad for the tea, and maybe there'll be even something for the compost heap. First thing I'm going to do is I think this spinach is pretty much finished now. It's been trying to go to seed for a while now, and I just keep pulling off the heads. I might take some excuse me, I might take some of it to put in the salad, but I think the rest can go to the hens. So they're starting to go yellow, and you can see how they're shooting up there to flower. All plants, their aim is to reproduce like everything on earth. So when they shoot away and they get the flower and then they produce seed, and then really you're not going to get anything useful out of them after that. This one's not so bad. I might take some of these leaves for the salad tonight, but I think I'll just pull it out after that though. It's past its best. So that's the spinach out. That gives a little bit more room for this. This is chives. Chives are a perennial herb. I haven't grown them before. I was looking forward to having chives on things this year, but they're a bit weak. I might cut some off. But anyway, what I know is they'll be back next year, so that's nice. And they've got a bit more space now to grow, although there does seem to be grass in there as well. So I've got 2 rows of lettuce in this border. They're both getting quite out of hand. We haven't been able to keep up with it. I've got another row behind us as well, and I've got lettuce at home, so a lesson learned. I've planted far too much. So I'm going to just try and sort this one out a little bit now. What I've been told is, or what I've heard is, when lettuce bolts like this one, you can see this is shot right up in the air like that, and this one, that the leaves become bitter and are very nice to eat. I'm just going to try them and find out if that's really true. I'll take this one out anyway because I'm going to give it to the hens. The hens love the lettuce. Let's try it. Yeah, that is quite bitter actually. Well, try that one because this one looks nice. Too nice for hens, really. Yeah, they are. They're really bitter. So they can come out, at least I know that now. I don't have to feel guilty about pulling whole lettuces out just to feed the hens. This one, I'm just going to take it out as well. It's bolting. See how they're not short to the ground and fat, they're starting to grow up into the air. And they're starting to shoot away here and get a long stem. That's a sign that they're starting to bolt. So if you don't want them to, you need to get your stuff picked fast really after that. Right, that gives us a bit more room in there. This one, let's try this for taste. Might have to take this one out as well. Bitter. Bit of a shame, gonna end up with nothing. Right, I'm not taking any more of those out. I'll go along and take some of these ones out, I think. This is the rocket. We've got masses of it. Very successful. I'm going to take a little bit for the salad, but again, what I found with the rocket is it's actually a little bit bitter. I think the stuff you get in the supermarkets is grown under cover and polytunnels and what have you, and it makes it a little bit more tender and sweeter. This stuff that's exposed to the elements is just a bit hardier and tougher and more bitter. So, but I take a little bit for the salad, but the rest I'm going to cut it all back. I've done this already a couple of times, and I make pesto out of it, which is a great way to use all your greens and keeping them for through the winter. I've done it with, obviously pesto, you usually think of basil, but you can use chard, kale, rocket, anything else I've used? Can't think. But what I did last year and I've started doing this year is just harvesting it all when I've got a glut like this and make a huge batch of pesto and then just freeze it into little portion sizes and put it in the freezer for through the winter. Last year's lasted us, I don't know, until quite recently really. To make pesto, you're going to want lots of leafy greens. You're going to want olive oil. Here's a maize tail, we don't want that in. You're going to want olive oil. You're going to want Parmesan cheese or something similar. You're going to want some nuts, like pine nuts is what they traditionally seem to use in basil pesto, but you can use any kind. I usually use walnuts, which I toast under the grill first to bring out the flavour. You can use almonds or any kind of nuts, cashews, I've used those before. You're going to want garlic. I think that's about it really. You just blend it all together, don't cook anything, and then you have some lovely homemade pesto, which I don't know whether it's any cheaper to make your own because the olive oil and what have you and the cheeses are quite pricey, but homegrown and homemade's always best, isn't it? Now maybe that'll come up again, but maybe not. I have cut it down about twice already, so maybe pushing my luck now. I've got all of that. So that's this border. It looks a little bit better now. It's a little bit more room for things to breathe. What I've got left in it, that's some of the only successful carrots I've grown this year so far, just a few at the end there. I found they seem to grow better in a more contained space, like in a bucket or up here in this raised bed. I planted some sorrel last week or so, so that might help for salads later on in the year, but it's a bit soon to harvest that. I've got this lovely roast spring onions still, which I'm going to take a few of those home now. And yeah, just the last of the lettuce and the chives. What I have got round outside here is these hanging tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. Don't know whether they're tumbling tom, I can't quite remember. The leaves are getting a bit yellow. I think I should probably feed them, I'm not exactly sure. I know on the tall tomatoes you start to feed them when the second set of flowers, when the fruit's set on that. But these are different from that, and there is a couple of little tomatoes starting on them. I don't know whether it's too soon to feed them. However, as I say, the foliage is yellow, so I think I need to get the tomato feed and start feeding them. And I've also got a couple of leeks shoved in here as well. I don't know whether they'll work there. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.